All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So the Houston Texans future is currently loaded. In fact, the current state of the Houston Texans is also very loaded. We're hearing buzz around the NFL that the Texans could look to improve at the running back position to help out CJ Stroud, per Jeremy Flower with ESPN, and names like Saquon Barkley or divisional rival Derrick Henry could be names to watch. Folks, this Houston Texans team, the current, the future, it's all loaded. I mean, the Houston Texans are literally loaded. This is a team that went 10-7 from winning 3 football games with a first-year head coach. They draft CJ Stroud with the second pick. He goes for 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions and over 4,000 passing yards, and they win the division. They win 10 football games. They lose 7 of them, and they go into the wild card round of the playoffs with old man Joe Flacco, the Browns getting so much hype, yada, 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 and it dropped everybody's jaw. They put up 45 on the best defense in the National Football League in the Cleveland Browns and won the game 45-14. And unfortunately, the upcoming week against the Baltimore Ravens resulted in a different outcome. But nonetheless, the Houston Texans are so unbelievably ahead of schedule right now. And when I'm looking into the rumors and I'm looking into the Houston Texans news, it's just crazy, man. They have like over $60 million in cap space. They've got their quarterback, they've got their coach, and it's just actually unreal. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about the draft and free agency. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Texans fans, love you guys so much. If we could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So one thing is for certain here, based on these Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley news, the Texans are looking to upgrade the running back position. Now, Dameon Pierce was a huge, somehow a huge bust. Not to make it personal, because it's not personal in any way, shape, or form, but a horrid season. Just a terrible season from Dameon Pierce. 145 carries, 416 yards. He averaged like less than 2.9 yards per carry on the season. It's not going to work, right? But they also have Devin Singletary, who they picked up in free agency, and we talked about it on this channel a little less than a year ago, saying like, hold on, dude, this is one of the most low-key signings in the entire offseason. And some way, somehow, it took like what felt like half of the season for Devin Singletary to get RB1 honors, which was just crazy because the dude averaged 4.2 yards per carry. He had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He had 898 rushing yards. He was awesome. But the issue is he's a free agent. And so now we're hearing Saquon Barkley and we're hearing Derrick Henry, because obviously Dameon Pierce isn't an RB1 status for Houston next year, and Devin Singletary is about to be a free agent. It's just a fascinating position to be in. It really is, because you've got so much money. And we're hearing like those 2 running back names. We're hearing guys like Mike Evans, who we'll actually talk about very quickly. And Houston did such a good job in free agency last season, and they've got a couple of guys hitting the market. Blake Cashman, Devin Singletary, Jonathan Greenard, Steven Nelson, Dalton Schultz. You've got a bunch of like these kind of guys you signed on 1-year prove-it deals. Not all those were 1-year prove-it deals, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. And management-wise, they do such a good job at finding this type of talent. Now, with the Saquon Barkley news in specific, the reason this is kind of taken over social media is because it's February 20th and we don't have any draft content. We don't have any draft news. Free agency hasn't begun. The combine stuff hasn't begun. And so now it's just all speculation, and it's fun. And you're seeing Saquon Barkley follow dudes like CJ Stroud and Tank Dell and Nico Collins and Brevin Jordan. And it's just crazy because it's like, it's such a reach, and it's probably nothing, but it could be something. And I think at the end of the day, whether it's Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry coming to Houston, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if they were to go out there and get a big-time player. So let's look briefly at Saquon Barkley. He's a stud if he's on the field. This past season, and keep in mind, the New York Giants were a dumpster fire. 14 games, 14 starts, 247 attempts, 962 yards. He averaged a little under 4 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. He had 68.2 catch percentage. He had 41 catches, 280 yards, and 4 reception touchdowns. That's one of my favorite, most under kind of covered aspects about Saquon Barkley is how good he is at catching the football. Like 2 years ago in his Pro Bowl season, where he played 16 games for the Giants, 1,300 rushing yards, 10 total touchdowns. He averaged 4.4 yards per carry. He also had 57 catches for 338 yards. That was Saquon 1 year ago. And like I said, don't look too much into Saquon Barkley's statistics from this past season because, with Danny Dimes and Tyrod Taylor, they still took down my Green Bay Packers on primetime television, but it was just such a dumpster fire New York Giants season. And we know Saquon Barkley, and we know what he's done since he got into the league. I remember watching this dude play in college at Penn State, being like, jeez, man, like, I'd love him on the Green Bay Packers. I'm a Packers fan, if you can't tell. But my point is this. Offense is a statement. And when you play offense, you make everyone else play defense. And one of my favorite parts about DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans defense is they still finished the season ranked 11th in the NFL. Like, their defense is only going to get better through the draft and through free agency. And so I want them to continue to double down on the offensive side. I want them to impose their will on others. And, the whole defense wins championships old adage, I think, is an old adage at this point. Like, I want to rain down fire on my opponents. Your offense becomes your defense. And whether it's Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry or whoever, I just want the Houston Texans to continue to focus on offense because Nico Collins had a breakout season, 80 catches for 1,300 yards. Tank Dell, the rookie, whose season was unfortunately cut in half, had a breakout rookie campaign, 47 catches for 709 yards. And, even players like Noah Brown that they acquired in free agency, 59 catches, 635 yards. They did a phenomenal job in free agency and in the draft and just out there on the field. And so we'll finally touch on this statement here, or this statement report, whatever. The odds on Mike Evans' next team, the Houston Texans are the favorite at plus 300. The Buccaneers are plus 325. Now, if you ask me, I have two opinions on Mike Evans going to the Houston Texans. I don't think it's a great scheme fit. I think they would be better off looking elsewhere, even if it was through the draft with like Brian Thomas Jr. And he's also going to command a ton of money. And like when we kind of combine the scheme fit and the expected contract, I don't think it's something that Houston really even needs to do, but they're going to do something, whether it's Mike Evans, whether it's Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry. The Houston Texans offense is going to be better next season, especially on paper. And it's just, got us kind of rumbling around, especially Saquon following and like all these Texans players. It's just interesting, right? We're in that point in the offseason. So let me know your thoughts mainly on Saquon Barkley going to the Houston Texans. Also, let me know your thoughts on Mike Evans possibly going to the Texans. But that's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, and we will see you soon.